Orchard Student Ministry small group. We are so glad that you guys are here. Here's what you can expect for tonight. We'll have some worship, so feel free to sing along, and then you'll have a message from someone talking about something from the Bible. And then after that, we'll have some small group discussion where we talk about the topic amongst each other and bounce ideas and thoughts between each other. So, we're so glad you're here. We hope you enjoy your time, play some games, eat some snacks, and have a great night.
Stop the Lord Almighty. Who can stop the Lord Almighty? 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 Who can stop the Lord? I
So we're in this series called Break It Down, and we'll be talking a lot about this book called the Bible, how to use it, how to understand it, how to read it, all sorts of good things. Well, in this fourth week, we're going to look at the Bible, and we're going to talk about how to actually use it the right way. Have you ever had a question that you want to know the answer to pretty quickly? Like, who's that guy in that movie? I've seen him before. Or, what's the ingredients to Mountain Dew? When we have these questions, right, we have this really cool resource called the internet. You know, we've got Google, we've got YouTube, we've got all sorts of resources on the internet that we can use to find the answers. Now, sometimes those answers can be super helpful and super accurate. Other times on the internet, though, we'll find answers that aren't really right or what we wanted to hear, and it gets kind of frustrating. I have an example of that right now. So, earlier this year, I was trying to order some parts for my car. I wanted to install new headlights into my car. And so I went online, I watched a YouTube video of how to do that, and then I went on to the site to order the parts themselves, and the website said these parts will fit my car. So I trusted it and was like, sweet, I'll order these, should get here. So they got to my house, and I went to go install them in my car, and they didn't fit. The connection was wrong. So in that time, the internet, the website, was not correct and actually led to me losing $40. Let's be honest, sometimes I know I can do this. We can use the Bible like our own personal little internet source. Sometimes we'll go there to find a quick answer and find a direct answer. And now sometimes that can be kind of helpful in hard situations, like if we're going through a loss or a breakup or some family stuff, sometimes there's encouraging stuff in the Bible to help us out. But more often than not, we'll find an answer that is kind of frustrating, or it's confusing, or we don't really know what to do with it, and so because we don't like what we're hearing, we go to some other source, like the internet, to find our answer. So what's cool about the Bible is actually within it, there's a verse that talks about how to use the Bible in the right way. There's a book called the Psalms, and Psalms is written mostly by this guy named David, King David. Have you heard of David versus Goliath? It's that same David. He's a really cool guy, has some great stuff. In the Psalms, he basically has a journal entry talking about his life and talking about the ups and downs he's been through. And there's one particular verse that he talks about and how we should use the Bible. Chapter 119, verse 105. In this verse, David says, "Your word is a lamp unto my feet. It lights my path." Now, have you ever been in a room or walked into a room, like an attic or a basement, or maybe in your bedroom, and the lights are off? And you walk in there, and because you don't want to stub your toe on your bedpost, really painful, I've done that before, it sucks, you turn your light on. The first thing you do typically is you search the wall for a light switch, and you're like, there it is, and now you can see where you're supposed to go. So David, in this verse, is basically saying that the Bible is supposed to be like a light into our lives, a way for us to see more clearly, just like a light is for your room. Now, we don't enter the room, and we don't enter the darkness, and then we first stub our toe and then get the light. The first thing we do when we enter our room is we hit the light switch. Now there's a second verse in Psalms, actually the same chapter, 119, verse 11, where David's talking about, he mentions something else about the Bible that we're supposed to use, and he says, "I have hidden your word within my heart." Now what David's saying here is basically like always having your word, the Bible, God's word, ready for us to use. So what this is kind of like is when you go camping, or when you enter a dark room, you have your phone, or you might have a flashlight or like a lantern if you're out camping, and you turn it on so you can see where you're supposed to go. Or in my case, when you're driving, you have a headlight, you turn it on. So what David's saying is that we should be so familiar with God's word and maybe memorize a verse or two so that we have it whenever we need it. Like if we need a flashlight for a dark room. So if you memorize a verse, and it's pretty easy to do, you can just read a verse or read the Bible for a few minutes each day, and you get to know a verse really well. Sometimes people put it like tattoos on themselves, some people put it like on their phone, they put it in their house so you can see it all the time. So when you put a verse like that and you know it so well it's in your memory, whenever you come across a situation that is frustrating or confusing or you're not sure what to do, that verse can kind of help you see more clearly, just like a flashlight helps you see more clearly in a dark room. So what's our bottom line tonight, is that basically the Bible shouldn't be like an internet source for our lives that we can just go to find quick answers, because sometimes when we do that, we'll get frustrated. The Bible is actually meant to help us see more clearly, and it's an invitation from God for us to basically turn on the light for our lives and have more wisdom and better perspective in knowing where to go and where not to go. And then secondly, memorizing a verse or having it ready for you whenever you need it is the next step, so that no matter if the Bible is with you or not, you always have this other thing in you, hidden in your heart, that you can use to whenever you're confronted with a confusing or dark time or hard something you have to figure out. So this week, let's go and try to memorize a verse, or just try to find a verse that you like. And if what's okay is that if you can't find something or you want to understand something more, you can talk to somebody about it. You have your leaders, you have the church, you have friends and family. Always utilize them to see if you want to understand a verse better, so you can help use it to help put more light into your life and see more clearly. Because remember, the more light we have in our lives, the better we can see.
Small groups, here are a couple of really important announcements. One, fall retreat signups are still going on, but registration closes on Friday, September 4th, so there's only a couple more days to get signed up, so make sure you get signed up. Number two, there are no small groups the weekend of Labor Day, that is September 6th. And then also on September 13th, there will be no small groups as well, because we'll be coming back from our fall retreat. Hope you guys have a great night and enjoy small group.